So the nice thing about this, Seth, is we got a lot of time. You're in no rush. Going to cover a lot of things with Seth Ennis right now. Practical jokes, your career, your current single. Let's start, though, with your background. Like, how did you get into music?
Yeah, so where to begin? So I'm from South Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, and I was born into a military family. My dad was in the Air Force for 25 years, so most of my life I was kind of moving around all over the place, and music was just something that I could kind of take every place we moved and play, and at least get into some kind of friend group wherever I was at. And so, yeah, then when I graduated high school, did some college at Valdosta State, and decided I wanted to make the move to Nashville. And I was already kind of playing keys and guitar and singing background vocals for a couple different people to make money on the weekends. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this Nashville thing a go. And so I moved there about 4.5 years ago and signed my record deal with Sony after, this is like totally the short version of it, but signed my record deal with Sony after playing a Battle of the Bands. And the winner got to play CMA Fest, so that's why I entered it, so I could play CMA Fest. And anyway, there's the right people there at the right time, and one of those crazy stories. And yeah, then came out with a single called Woke Up in Nashville about almost 2 years ago. And yeah, now we got this been traveling a lot the last year, doing some tours, and got this new song, Call Your Mama, coming out now. So
when you told your parents you wanted to move to Nashville and do music, were they very supportive, or were they kind of like hesitant, like, hey, not many people make it?
Yeah, I think my dad was, so my dad kind of came from a, nothing situation and kind of made himself into this, colonel in the Air Force. And I think he always wanted me to be a lawyer or something, and to finish school and get this big degree. And anyway, so my dad it's not that he wasn't supportive. He just wasn't he was like, okay, if you do this, that's okay, but I'm not going to help you. Like, you have to figure it out on your own. So, I mean, when I moved to Nashville, I had like $12 in my bank account and just figured it out.
It's so funny because, like, when I got into radio, I was the most quiet kid ever growing up, and my mom's, like, laughing to herself, like, when I told her I wanted to do radio, when I got older. And they were, like, your situation, like, hey, do it. But I think in her mind, like, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
So, but, they were supportive, and they're super proud, and I'm sure your parents are, too. So you moved to Nashville with $12. So what'd you do? Like, how did you just crash in people's, like, couches?
So I moved into this, me and 3 of my best friends from Georgia all moved there in this 1-bedroom apartment, and we had bunk beds that we stayed in. And the apartment was called, like, the name of the building was Maybell, which is what I named my EP, and on the cover or whatever, I'm sitting on the steps of that apartment. But, yeah, I moved there, ate a lot of ramen, lots of ramen, and then I continued to play some gigs on the weekend, either, playing for other people as their backup, or, doing my own gigs at college bars and stuff. And it was cool, though, because it helped me really get my chops and playing in live environments, and seeing what it's like to play in front of 2 people and trying to get their attention. So I think that's important, and something every artist should go through is, figuring out how to make that work and how to entertain in that environment. So
it's like a comedian almost. Like, you got to find what works for you and how, like, they're distracted, they're on their phones, but how do you get them away from that to concentrate on you?
Yep.
When you move to Nashville, everybody who's the best in, like, their town is basically moving to Nashville. So you're there with all the other bests from their area. So what made you stand out, you think, from other people?
Man, I don't know. That was a big thing for me moving there, because, in Valdosta, it's like I was the guy, like I was the singing guy. And then as soon as I moved to Nashville, like you said, it's like everybody is the singing guy or girl from their hometown. And so that was, I mean, it's competitive, but my thing was, I moved there with the mindset of, I can't control if somebody looks better than me, if they sing better than me, if they play guitar better than me or piano better than me. But what I can control is I can make sure that I outwork every single person in this town. And so that's what I did, man. I just put my head down and put my blinders on and just look forward, and tried to just focus on what I needed to do to make it happen. And I do believe in hard work, and that, you can do anything you want to if you just put your mind to it. And so, yeah, I was just pretty determined to get it done.
And, I mean, you've opened for Little Big Town. I mean, you've made it. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty wild, man. It's like always, like, just because I'm so competitive with myself, it's like I never feel like I've, quote unquote, made it. But I have, like, I mean, if you would have told me, 4 years ago when I moved to town that I would have had a record deal, coming with my second single to radio, open for Luke Bryan and Little Big Town and FGL and Tim and Faith. Like, dude, that's some of my bucket list things, that I've got to do already. I've got to play the Opry a couple times, play at the Ryman. Like, yeah, dude, it's even saying this all out loud right now is like kind of like, whoa, this is happening, So
do you have all those numbers in your phone out of everybody you just mentioned? Do you ever like text them or give them a call?
I do, yeah. I have. I try not to bother them all the time, but if we have like an inside joke from tour on the road or whatever, I'll shoot them a text or just tell them I'm thinking about them or something like that. So
who's the best at responding? Like the quickest responder?
The quickest. Let me think about that. Probably. I've gotten really close to Little Big Town.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like. I tell everybody they're like my cool aunts and uncles in Nashville, and they are like the kind of people, they've been through it all. They had 3 record deals, they've been around a long time, and so every time I'm around them, and they're so gracious to like spend time with me and impart their wisdom on me, But yep. I just try to soak it in and just learn from them because they've seen it all. They've there's nothing that they haven't been through, and so I try to learn as much as I can from them, and they're great. Yeah, I'll talk to them probably more than all the people I went on tour with. So
are they at the point where you get them Christmas gifts?
Yeah, I do give them Christmas. I'm not the best gift giver. I guess that's not my love language. But no, I do try. I do try my best. It's kind of hard to like get gifts for people like superstars though, because it's like, what do they need?
That's what I've always wondered, that because you got to go really unique at that point. Like
yeah.
something
you got to get really unique and like personal and yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, man, they could go buy themselves this,
Yeah.
And it's not about money at the end of the day. It's just about the thought.
Totally. And like Karen, she's like fashion queen, so it's like, of course I want to get her something fashion in that world because that's what she loves, but it's also like, what am I going to get her? I feel like everything I get her, she's going to be like, this isn't good enough.
Well, that's why you go to your mom, which brings us to your new single.
That's right. There you go.
Call Your Mama. So what's the backstory behind this?
Yeah, so I wrote this song one day after my mom she was texting me. She texted me like 5 times in a row, call your mama, call your mama, call your mama. And so I call her kind of freaking out, like, what's going on? And she just wanted to talk about some small town drama, like I was telling you earlier, she wanted to talk about some drama in the church choir or something, or what was all my family lives on this one dirt road on a farm. I can't make this up. And and there's always drama between the family that she wants to talk about. And anyway, so I ended up writing that title down. I was like, that would be a good song title. And so I wrote it down. Me and my buddy wrote it one day. It was the fastest either of us had ever written a song. It was like 30 minutes, and we had the song done. And anyway, a couple weeks later, I was opening for Little Big Town in the UK, and my mom was out there. She came to the show, and I was like, I'm going to play this song and surprise my mom. And I played it, and then when I walked off stage after my set that night, Karen and Kimberly, I guess, had heard me play the song, and they were like, hey, that Call Your Mom song you played, that's a good song. You need to keep playing that the rest of the tour. So I kept playing it the rest of the tour, and it was just getting a great reaction, and I decided, I was like, you know what, we could do something pretty special with this song. And so I recorded it, and then since they were such a big part of why I cut it, I was like, what do I got to lose? I'm going to go ask if they want to sing on it. So they came and they said they would love to, came and sang, and so they put their Parmesan cheese on it, and their little Big Town touch. And so, yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
Well, it's with all country songs, you look for how does it relate to the audience? Because that's what separates country from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has a mom.
Yeah.
We all talk to mom. All moms want to turn a 5-minute conversation, like you said, into a 30-minute or hour conversation. I talk to my mom every night. And, sometimes it is a chore, but I do appreciate it. But this song, it brings it back home. It's like, you really got to suck it all in, and one day you're not going to have your mom around to call. So
yeah, and it was I wrote it like right around the time that we lost my grandma, and I was watching my dad kind of go through that. And when you lose a grandparent, it was my first grandparent I lost, but it was like it's a weird situation because you almost hurt for your parents more than anybody watching them go through that. And so it kind of made me stop and think like, man, I really do need to call my mom more, and because she's not going to be around forever. And the coolest thing that's been happening with the song so far, and I know it's still really young, but I've seen like just fans message me and say things, just like so many different stories that what this song has done for them and their relationship with their mom, or just like healing if they've lost their mom. And like, for instance, one person messaged me the other day and said, I haven't had a good relationship with my mom, haven't talked to her in 10 years, and I heard your song and I called her, and things aren't great, but they're better than they were.
Oh, wow.
And thanks for writing this song. And, just like, especially as a writer and a singer, when you hear something like that, like, you really feel like you're making a difference. And I don't know, it's just, I can't wait to see what this song does, and I'm really proud of it. And yes, I do call my mom a lot more than I used to now. So,
well, you impacted yourself. Awesome. Well, let's do this, Seth. Let's just get some quick questions in, kind of get to know you personally a little bit better. You can do one-word answers, whatever. Let's start with favorite type of food.
Sushi.
Sushi? Mm-hmm. Is there a go-to place in Nashville you go to?
Nashville's tough because it's landlocked. And I like stuff on the coast.
Okay.
So.
Okay. What's your most favorite movie recently that you've seen?
Ooh. I've been more into TV shows. I know that's not a one-word answer, but...
What have you been watching then?
I've been watching the new season of Ozark.
Oh, God. It gets intense.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
It's a lot faster paced than season 1.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You'll what episode you on right now?
I'm only on like 3.
Oh, God. Okay, you got a lot to...
About to buckle up.
Oh, God, yeah. Get the seatbelt in. So once you got a little bit of money, into your career, what was like that first purchase you made that you're like, you know what, I'm treating myself, I deserve this?
My dad, he bought this truck when I first been to Nashville, like this nice truck. And anyway, he told me, he was like, when you get your first deal in Nashville, I'll let you buy this truck from me at this price. And it was like a really good price for that new truck. I mean, the thing, and anyway, by the time I got my first deal, it only still had like 10,000 miles on it. And I was like, hey, Dad, you said you'd give me that truck at this price. So he held up his end of the bargain, and I bought the truck off him. So that's probably my first big thing. I haven't like as far as I think what I want to do next, I just wrote this song for Dylan Scott called Hooked.
Which is doing amazing.
Yeah, it's doing great. And so once I start seeing money from that, I think I'm ready to buy a house. I want to be a homeowner in Nashville. So.
Have you started looking at places yet?
A little bit, yeah. Just kind of like more areas, like where I want to be and stuff. So,
what's that one thing that you would want to have at your house, like a hot tub or a bowling alley? Anything cool like that you've been thinking about?
Fireplace. Dude, there's something about a fireplace I just love, man. A fireplace, also maybe even like an outdoor grilling, like TV area that's perfect for game day. I'm a big game day guy, so.
The last question, we'll let you go. Have you played any practical jokes while on tour on anybody, or has any of the other musicians played one on you?
So this is pretty funny. I was out in Boise, and I was doing a show that was with Runaway June, Michael Tyler, and Trent Harmon, and it was Trent's birthday. And so Trent didn't know, but we had all gotten a birthday cake for him and stuff, and we decided, me and the Runaway June girls were like, hey, let's I don't even know where we got this idea, but there's these like trees backstage, like big tree plants. And I was like, let's bring these up on stage and sing happy birthday to him and at his last song. And so he starts playing, at the time his single was There's a Girl. So he plays that song, and I was like, okay, this has got to be his last song because everybody plays their single last, So we come out with all of this stuff, and we're singing happy birthday at the end of There's a Girl, and he looks at us like, what's going on? And he was like, y'all, this isn't my last song. And so then we awkwardly were like, okay. And we all just walked right back off the stage. So we never really talked about it, but I hope he wasn't too ticked off. Trent, if you hear this, I deeply apologize. I'm so sorry.
And how long ago was that roughly?
That was probably a year ago. So
you haven't talked to him since, huh? He must be mad.
I know. Well, I've talked to him. We just hadn't talked about that.
It's one of those things, it's taboo. You just don't bring it up.
Yep. Me and the Runaway June girls do laugh about it all the time, though.
Oh, the girls, they're a riot.
They're a good time. Actually, the next day, we got stuck in our flight out of Boise, got stuck in the airport, and it got completely canceled. So we were stuck in that airport for 5 hours. Then we finally got to Denver, and then we're stuck there for 5 hours. And then we didn't get home till late at night.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Well, you never know what's going to happen when you're traveling, right?
That's right.
Well, Seth, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me in.